So I'm out here right now in Pickens, South Carolina, up on the hilltop of Glass Mountain. An absolutely beautiful view of the Carolinas spread out in front of me, the edge of the Appalachian Mountains, or I suppose to some degree in the Appalachian Mountains, visiting my sister. Her and her family are here. I haven't seen them for well over a year, so I thought I'd come stop by on my way home. And I've been watching a series of videos. A lot. A series of videos that I discovered probably 6 months ago when they first started, when a few of them went and became incredibly prominent on YouTube. But I've always very seldomly dabbled in them. You see, this channel, The Soft White Underbelly, that's the channel name. These interviews that I've been dipping into, they deal with and address some of the most painful, tragic, morally corrupt, obtuse individuals in our land. Individuals that you and me would likely have very rare, if any, encounters with. From gang members to murderers to prostitutes on Skid Row, a whole series of people here in Appalachia that live in the foothills, that talk with an accent, that grow up around opioid and drug addiction. He deals with things like incest and sexual abuse. It is a fascinating pinpoint on humanity, on the degree to which we can hurt other people, on the way that people can be resilient and overcome through their suffering, or the way that their suffering defines and dictates how they operate, how they move through the world. It's hard to watch these videos. I've advised everyone that I've shown this series to take them piece by piece. Don't overwhelm yourself with the consumption of them. Don't watch them all in one sitting unless your stomach can bear it, because you want to help. You want to save or rescue. You want to do anything to reduce the pain and suffering that is there, that is evidence, to correct the action, to anything. But that's not what this series is about. This series is about the story. It's about the human. It's about the dignity of a conversation. The series that he's doing doesn't tend to lend aid. It's not a series asking you to donate to rescue this person, because he recognizes that you can't go back in time, and that the opportunity to help, to create a lasting impact, might have to be with future generations, and it can't necessarily be with those that have already been hurt and damaged. I was watching a few interviews with Mark Laeta. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. I'm not entirely confident on that. But he's an amazing photographer. He spent a few years of his life traversing continental United States, taking pictures, portraits of all the different types of individuals you could imagine. From biker gangs to police officers to, again, inbred families here in Appalachia. He talked and discussed and found ways to bridge gaps with all the people that live here in the States, and wanted to document them, wanted to capture and tell their story, have a picture that was able to translate the humanity that still exists, or the humanity that was to some degree lost in that conversation. You're good.
Oh.
You can hop by. I'm filming a YouTube video.
What kind of camera?
It's a GH5.
Hell yeah, I have a D5600 in my car.
Nice, very nice. But the conversations on his channel, they're not about helping people. They're about documenting. They're about talking about honest stories. They're about showing the pain that exists in the world. And so I was watching a few interviews of him talking about his process, talking about the journey that he's been on, photographing for that book originally, and then utilizing that same methodology to photograph for and tell stories about people. He started off not even caring about the videography, just placing a camera down and having that be the subset for the picture he wanted to take. And then it slowly progressed into daily, it seems, interviews with people from all over our country. from people that are hurt and broken and lost, that grew up with a degree of pain that some of us will never fully imagine or some of us can relate to. But the reason for this video, the reason that I wanted to make a video about Soft White Underbelly and about the creator is because I found a series of interviews with him talking about his process, talking about his methodology, what matters to him, why he approaches the storytelling in the way he does, the interviews in the way he does. He talked a lot about forgiveness, talked about approaching the world with optimism, believing anything was possible and anything could happen. And then he mentioned a book that he was reading. And I'll link the video down below so that you can check out his channel and watch these interviews that struck a chord with me. But he talked about the fact that from his experience, humans operate from one of two directives. You're either taking an action based on fear or on love. And as someone who has interviewed over 2,000 of the most despondent people in our society, people that many people would snub their nose at or pass by or not think they're worth hearing from, as someone who spent time seeking that conversation and sharing it with millions of other people, that struck a chord with him. And as he was talking about it, it struck a chord with me as well. You operate either out of fear or love. Fear of what's happened to you, what might happen to you, what's been done in the past, fear of manipulation and abuse, fear of not having enough or losing your stability or security, or love, caring, taking the time to invest, trusting in someone, that verb that love represents, right? The Corinthians, I have all of 1 Corinthians 13 tattooed in Greek up and down my arms. Love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, does not boast, is not rude, is not proud, is not self-seeking, does not delight in evil, but rejoices in that truth. That narrative, that verb of a word. I still haven't thought about or processed this conversation enough to really know where it sits with me. Everything he said sounds true, and I trust that it is true because of the person that he is, of the experience and impact that he's currently having. I mean, like I said, I'm slowly consuming his work, but it is hard. It is hard to watch those interviews. It's hard to watch those stories, to listen to the pain and the journey and hear how people can be cruel to one another, hear how people are unwilling to accept help when it finds them, unwilling to accept love, operate from such a degree of fear. He said when he read that phrase, when he read that line, he kind of closed the book and ruminated on that for about 6 months to a year, letting that sit with him. Either way, this has been something I've been consuming a lot. It's a fascinating documentation of humankind, of society, and it's a conversation I wanted to extend to you, the audience. I wanted to share not only his work, if you're not familiar with him, but also that series of interviews and that idea. Fear or love. It's an interesting topic. Let me know your thoughts down below, and we will be hopefully getting on a schedule here on the channel very soon. I've been working on the framework for one, and so hopefully I'll be able to figure it out. That sun has really came out, and it is extremely bright. I'll see y'all in the next one.